Gonna start this off. Welcome to the show.
It's not bunch of fucking bullshit. It's not Shut up! I hate you so much. Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Dude, I fucking hate that. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Good morning, baby. Good morning, baby. Oh, baby. Boys and girls, do I have a treat for you today? Do I have a treat for you today? Come on. Come on. Come on about it. Come on about it, bro. Too much of a track. Are you kidding me, dog? If that doesn't make you smile ear to ear, then I don't know. Give up, I guess. No, don't give up. Everybody likes different things. But if that doesn't make you smile from ear to ear, boy, I don't know, buddy. That just tickles it. How are you doing? Oh, my God. Great day to be here. Great day to be alive. Lots to talk about today. Super, super great. Love you all. Welcome to Things I Hate 56, baby. I'm so sweaty and tired. That was, of course, Wolfpack, my favorite band of all time, with their hit new single, You Got to Be You, baby. You got to be you. Dude, I want to be a radio DJ. I'd be so good at it. So much better than all those stupid idiots you hear on the radio. Well, hi, this is Jim Thero in Hot 97.81. It's just like, I hate you, man. I feel like every person who is on the radio, at least where I'm from, in Ottawa, lives in the suburbs. And you can just hear it in their stupid voice, you know? Hi, this is Symphony Double in the swish, swish, swoo. And you're just like, ugh. I can hear your broken hot tub in your backyard. You know what I mean? I can hear your 3 poorly behaved children. I can hear your sham of a marriage. And I can hear all this shit in your stupid voice. Sorry, I just took it from a happy place to frustration. But, you know, I'm sorry. That's just what I hear when I turn on the radio in my hometown. I just hear affairs. I listen to the radio people and I'm like, you have so many affairs. Stupid ass. Anyway, it's great to be here, though. I have COVID. What's up? Swing. I got COVID, y'all. And so far, I'm pretty fine. I'm tired. Like, that dancing kind of took a bit of it out of me. But the worst of it was over this past weekend. Today is a Thursday that I'm recording this on. And it was over the past weekend. I showed symptoms a week ago. So last Thursday night, last Friday morning. And then over the weekend, I just thought I had a bad cold. My body was super achy and I had a sore throat. I barely had a cough. I coughed like a little bit, but just barely. Like, it never kept me up. I never thought about taking cough syrup or anything close to that because I would cough maybe like 4 times a day. You know what I mean? So I barely had a cough. And I was just super achy, like so achy that I had to like lie in odd positions and it hurt. And I had to it was like just so achy. You know what I mean? And I had a sore throat. So I didn't even fucking think I had COVID. I mean, to be honest, I hung out with some friends of mine while I was sick. Like, just because I hadn't seen anyone in so long. And, like, I hadn't seen any of my friends. Because most of my friends, before I left for Mexico, like, one of my friends was sick. The other was, like, busy doing applications for her master's. And then the other was away on a trip. So I hadn't seen any of my good friends in ages. And so selfishly, I was like, you guys, I just got to see you guys. Just got to hang out. You know, it's not like we have to fucking hug and fucking make out. I just want to see you guys. You know what I mean? So I was like, so I went and I saw them, but I really hope neither of them get COVID because that would really suck. So anyway, yeah, but I didn't know I had it when I hung out with them. I thought I just had a cold. I tested negative on Monday when I returned from Mexico. So I didn't get it in Mexico. I showed symptoms the Thursday following that test. So within 3 days of being in Montreal, I got COVID, which is pretty crazy. I went to 2 outings. I went to 2 comedy shows, performed at one, and I just went to another. So the one I performed at, I let all the comics who were there know, but, you know, the one you can't really, I don't know how to inform the audience. But anyway, so I got COVID. But, like, the good news is, like, the worst of it was on the weekend, and I feel fine now. Well, fine-ish. I feel like I'm recovering from a cold, you know. So I'm a bit tired still, and my throat is still, like, a little bit sore. But, like, overall, I feel pretty okay, and I feel like I'm getting better every day. So, you know. The only bummer thing is I can't go home for the holidays. We upgrade our stopwatch. Because anyway, I can't go home for the holidays because I have COVID. And it sucks because of all that stuff I told about my mom where like we had a really nice chat, and I was gonna help out with Christmas this year, and I was gonna be a more active role, and I was looking really forward to seeing my family and like kind of like changing the dynamic in the family and just helping my mom do stuff and being there for her and shit. And I called her the other day and I was like, Ma, like I have bad news. I can't come home. I have COVID. And she was so shook. She was like really, my mom's very strong. She rarely cries, but like she almost cried then. She was like, no. And I was like, Mom, it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. She was like the eldest daughter. She was the second oldest daughter, and then, or wait, second or third oldest? I can't remember now. I think third oldest. But her two older sisters like basically fucked off and weren't around. So a lot of the time she was like the mom of the siblings, you know what I mean? And anyway, so she's like, all that to say she's pretty tough. But she almost broke there, and I felt so bad because she was like, she told me, she was like, no, I'm so sad about this because, Tom, I was getting stressed about the holidays, but then she would be like, but it's fine because Tom's going to be there. And what a touching thing to say. Just like, fuck. So I love you, Ma. I love you so much. And, I'm going to be there next year for sure. And I'm going to go visit in January after my COVID shit runs its course. But, I mean, besides that is going to be a bummer. But besides that, dude, I'm pretty fucking gassed to stay home. Like, I'm pretty excited. Like, it's going to be so sick. I know I'm going to get lonely and go crazy because of, like, I looked up on the government and they were like, don't go out for a walk. So I had to use the Uber groceries today to get some groceries. And yeah, so you literally you can't do a thing. You can't do anything. So I'm like, shit. So I'm in here. So the first day I called my parents and I was like, Mom, Dad, you got to mail me my Super Smash Bros. Melee equipment. Because I'm about to fuck some shit up with that. And I'm just, babe, I'm going to get into it. I got all my instruments here. I think I'm going to make some music. I've been wanting, in my phone, I write down like all songs that I listen to that I could sample into like hip hop beats. So I might fuck with that. I'm going to do some fucking comedy videos. I'm going to do a fuck ton of Things I Hate episodes. I almost was going to release this one today, but I was like, I'll just save it for the weekend. But I'm definitely going to do those. I'm going to do a video. There's this funny video of these these butterflies I found, and I'm going to do like a voiceover of it. So I think I'm going to maybe do like some voiceover narration of like the animal kingdom. I don't know. So anyway, but yeah, here's my fucking COVID test. I know you can't see it, but the two lines mean it's bad. It means it's positive. So Schwiggity Schwan, there's my fucking COVID test, And yeah, we upgraded the clock because the old school clock is... The thing about the old school clock is I've knocked it over so many times now. I don't know if it tells the right time at all. I knock it over on my bed. It looks cool, that old school clock, but it's so tippy, You brush it in the night, and it's not like I fucking sleep still soldier in the night. You brush it in the night, and there she goes over the edge. So it's like, okay, well, clearly, you didn't think this through. You know what I mean? When you think everybody just sleeps still and nobody's ever going to hit the lamp, like give it a solid base so it can withstand a punch or two, Fuck. So anyway, so I upgraded to the homie here. Shout out to my cousin Austin who put me on this tip. And it's just like a classic stopwatch. Not on your phone, not on your fucking computer where you get distracted. You just get a stop. I love shit that serves one purpose really well. You just fucking know it's going to work. You just know it. I don't want 100 things. I just want this one thing to do it well. Just do this one thing well. You fucking idiot. I just do it well. You just simple. I push a button, start, stop. Easy peasy. In fact, this guy maybe even has too many things because there's all these like lap functionalities that I don't even know how to use, but it's okay because it works. It works well. It's good. There's no fucking backlight to blind your eyeballs and burn your retinas. It's just a simple tool. Makes your life easier. So good. So perfect. Great. Great. Gord, you can fucking, it's not going to fucking skip around. Great. Fucking gorgeous thing. Gorgeous thing. Gorgeous. Yeah. Oh my God. I'm okay. Oh God. What a great track, eh? Well, I'm definitely going to get flagged, but we had to play the whole thing. You Got to Be You by Wolfpack. Just a gorgeous a gorgeous fucking tune. A gorgeous, gorgeous tune. And you got to be you, baby. You got to be you. Yeah, fuck work. I hate, dude. I'm not going to get into it because I already ranted a lot about this on here all the time, but just the corporate world. What a sham. Because I've had a conversation at my job about 5 times. Guys, I need to take time off. And the conversation essentially goes like, well, you can't take time off, but if you're going to have a breakdown, take time off. It's like, okay, well, why don't I just take some time off so that I don't have a breakdown? And they go, oh, no, you can't take time off. If you're going to have a breakdown, we need to talk about that. What's going on in your job where you're having a breakdown? What are you doing? And it's just like, dog, what's going on in my job is that I need time away from it. It's like people in the corporate world and honestly the whole society refuse to let go of this like workaholic, like fucking hardcore grind dream that everyone has. And it's like, look, for a lot of people, unfortunately, they don't have a choice. They have to work their ass off to make ends meet because of systemic inequalities, etc. But for many people, like myself included, I'm lucky enough that the position I'm in, I don't need to work. Even 5 days a week, dude. And yet, I have to. Because of, you have to. That's it. There's no reason, because you have to. I'm like, oh, I'm going to take time off. They're like, oh, yeah, well, what if something happens? It's like, okay, what if something happens on the fucking weekend? You know what I mean? We just wait and then I fix it later. Like, I'm explaining this poorly. I don't have my arguments for this all lined up. And I'm still a bit hesitant to talk about this because I do work at my current job and I need to keep it to make money. But it's just, I'm really sick of, like, here's a great example. At my next job I work at, I'm going to propose something. And it's going to be like, look, take 15% of my salary and, like, take 15% off the salary you're going to offer me, and then I will work only 4 days a week. And I say that, and people are like, that's fucking crazy. Why? Why is that crazy? You know what I mean? What's wrong with that? Is there something wrong? Sure, I'll be working less days. That company will have a smaller resource, but it's like, okay, so you still have a very valuable resource, me. Let's just talk about it and figure out a way that I can still be valuable to you on this schedule. You know what I mean? Like, also, frankly, like, dude, so many people just fuck off at their jobs. You know what I mean? If you just gave them the time off, that probably the days they'd be on, they would be like, anyway, I'm just gonna leave it at that. But it's just ridiculous. This like societal pressure of, well, you gotta fucking work 5 days a week and all this shit. It's just like, why do we have to work 5 days a week? Like, I just, and again, this is a very privileged standpoint. Some people need to work 5 days a week to get to get those hours in, to get their shitty pay, which is, it's just, where I'm going. I'm just gonna leave it. What's this? This is from last week too, all these topics. So like, I barely looked over them. Ordering drinks on a tab feels cheaper. Well, I talked about this at the end of the show last week, but that's all I said. But I just think it's like, I'll walk into a bar and I'll be like, man, I don't have enough money to drink here tonight. But I'll be like, you know what'll make it cheaper? I'll put down a tab. And then in my brain, I'm like, somehow I'm like, then it'll be fine. Because it's like, if I don't have to feel the interaction every time I order a drink, it's less painful. If I can just kind of lump it all into one, like hit at the end, it's not as big of a deal. So I'm just like, take my fucking card. You also feel like a chump, like paying for a drink individually, especially because I don't carry cash, you know? So if you have to pay for each drink with the fucking card, like you feel like such a nerd. You're like, doop, 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 you know, and they're just like, here's another one, here's another one. Plus, I think, frankly, it would be, well, no, because, yeah, no. Anyway, so, you know, you just give the tab, and you're like, I got a tab going. Give me a fucking shot of that. Give me a fucking shot of that. And then it's, I don't know, you know. Why are white people so square? I was just thinking, like, I don't know. Maybe this is like a cringy take, but is it not true that black people in general are just like cooler, right? Isn't that like, I feel like most of the time when I run into black people in my life, I'm like, they're cooler than most white people I know. Like, I feel like, genuinely, I feel like that happens to me. You know, I don't know. I mean, it's obviously very subjective, and cool is like a weird, is like a very subjective term. But I don't mean to say that like every black person I mean, I'm like, oh yeah, like I definitely want to hang out with this person all the time. I don't mean like I'm like, oh, I really want to become close friends with them. It's like, you know, not to speak on their deeper character. You know what I mean? This is so problematic. I just mean like at first glance, you're like, that person is cooler than this other person. You know what I mean? Like, they have cooler style. They like speak in a cooler way. They just are cooler. You know what I mean? And so, and then I was thinking, the inverse is true for white people. Like usually when I see a white person, I'm like, well, is that fucking true? Maybe I'm just thinking of Ottawa. Because now I see a lot of white people in Montreal, and I'm like, oh, a lot of these people are cool. Maybe it's just Ottawa. Maybe I am just fucking racist. I don't know. Anyway, I was just thinking to myself, whatever, putting all that discussion aside, I was like, man, I wonder why white people are so square. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder why that happened. Then if you think about it, like, I guess, is this all just like total bullshit and is not true at all? I guess maybe it is. Right? Like, what the fuck am I thinking about, you know? No, I don't think that's true. Is that true? Are black people usually cooler than white people? Also, I wonder, like, as a black person, like, I wonder if there's like, I bet you there is. I bet you as a black person, there's like a lot of pressure to like be cool. But I don't even know. I don't fucking know anymore. I thought I had a handle on this, but now I'm thinking of like, I bet you there is, though, a lot of pressure to like be a cool black person and be stylish and all that shit, because that's how the media portrays them a lot of the time. But man, I don't know. I'm going to get off this. I might cut that whole part out, honestly. Just so sketch. I don't fucking know. I don't know well, I was just thinking, like, why are white people so square? Because you do see a lot of like fucking nerdy ass white dudes. And you don't see a lot of nerdy ass black guys, you know? And not just like science nerds, like just whack ass, like, man, but honestly, frankly, I feel like I just have a too small a sample size because I barely know any black people because Ottawa does not have a huge black population, and frankly, like if I'm being honest, the circles I grew up in did not have that many, was not that diverse, you know. So I feel like probably I just don't know enough black people to make this call correctly. So I'm just gonna shut the fuck up about it, which is probably something I should have done at the start. But whatever, man. I don't know. You know, I think about these shits sometimes. It's not wrong. It's not wrong. Whatever. Hell's Angels story. I'm a very honest person, and I have been very naive in my life, you know. But mostly, like, I just appreciate dialogue, you know, and just like that awkward conversation I just had about race with myself. I just want to talk about some shit and just kind of figure it out. Shout out to my good friend Jen, Jen Ross. She was on one of these episodes once. She's a lesbian, and if it wasn't for her, I would be so much less educated. I'm still very uneducated, but on the LGBTQ. I always have trouble with that. The gay scene. The gay gender scene. But I'd be way less educated on that because she was a person who was very willing just to have an open dialogue, you know, and I think honesty and openness is a big theme of this show. And it's a reason why I have problems with a lot of people. Because I feel like a lot of people show dishonesty in some form, talking about this corporate life, you know, that's like a form of bullshit. Like it's like no bullshit. Oh, I'm rambling a bit today, but basically what I'm trying to say is like I just want to have a chat. I just want to have a chat. I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend, you know. Maybe I'm ignorant, but I just want to have a chat and fucking learn about stuff because there's a lot of neat, cool things in the world, you know. One of those neat, cool things are biker gangs. Biker gangs are super neat and cool. How many people don't want to hear about biker gangs? They're, you know, what's that called? Sons of Anarchy, super popular. It's a weird, it's cool. Biker gang, you know, you want to hear about that shit. So anyway, I used to hang with this fucking skid, and we used to play music a bit together. This is when I was like a kid, like 18, 19. And anyway, this is actually when I was at McGill, so when I was in Montreal for the first time. And then I'm hanging with this dude one night, and we're drinking and smoking, and I get pretty fucked up. And then he starts telling me, this guy was like kind of a grease bag, and he like did a lot of drugs and was like a bit of a fuck up. And so he kind of like knew, he was from Smith Falls, you know, like fucking, he was a skid. He was like, fucking, let's do crime, and I don't know, you know, he's like, oh, I'll fucking steal it. You know, I'll fucking shoplift it. He was like one of those guys. You know, fucking, it's cool to skip class and fucking do meth. I don't know. Not meth. Like mushrooms, ass. You know, I'll get a tattoo. Like he's just he's just a fucking idiot. So anyway, he was like, yeah, man, like the whole of Montreal is run by Hell's Angels. And, you know, back in the day, I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, you didn't know that? And I was like, fucking no, I didn't know that. Look at me, dog. I grew up in a rich white fucking house. You think I know that all of Montreal is run by Hell's Angels? No, man. I played with Lego till I was like 15, and I don't regret it. It was fucking great. It was great. You know what I mean? But it's like, obviously I didn't know that shit. But I was like, no, you know, I didn't know that shit. And then he's like, yeah, they're all run by Hell's Angels. And I was like, and he was like, we were having this conversation because he was like, he said, I'm going to buy weed tonight, and the guy I'm buying weed from is going to come to the house, and I'm going to get some weed. And I was like, cool. You know, I'd barely bought weed. I was like, oh, great. And then we started talking about Hell's Angels, and I was like, do you think the guy tonight is like working for the Hell's Angels? And he goes like, I don't know, like maybe, you know what I mean? And I'm just thinking like, wow, cool, like crazy, you know? And I'm just kind of really happy because I'm here hanging with the cool kids who are actually like fucking skids, you know? But these guys were like fucking, you know, druggies. It was just a cool thing to be like, oh, look at these fucking, I was in with the drug addicts. Like, it's a cool place to be. So I was hanging out with the druggies, just like checking out the scene. And I was like, oh, this is cool, you know? And then I was just thinking, he got me thinking, you know, about Hell's Angels. And I was like, fuck, man, Hell's Angels. Because you hear about them like you hear about fucking dwarves and unicorns. Like, they don't sound real. They sound like a fucking fairy tale. Like, they sound like they should be in a movie, like, with the Hell's Angels. Like, can you imagine getting together a group of people and then all conferring and be like, let's call ourselves the Hell's Angels. Like, it's badass, but it's just like, you know what you got to do to be able to live up to that name? You really got to be a fucking murderer, you know? I'm a Hell's Angel. Like, if I came up to you and I was like, what's up, man? Call me Hell's Angel. You'll be like, fuck you, Tom. Like, get a life. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about, you pussy? But they were like, we're the Hell's Angels. So it's like, you know, they're on one. And so when people talk about the Hell's Angels, it's like fantastical. So you never think about, you're like, that shit doesn't fucking exist. Like, get in the real world, idiot. You know what I mean? So here I am in this fucking druggy spot, and they're not doing heroin. They're just like smoking weed out of bongs. You know what I mean? But I'm fucking 19. I'm like, oh, and I'm like, whoa. And you know, they weren't at school, these people. So they were not in university, smoking weed out of bongs, just playing video games and shit. I'm like, oh. Anyway, so I'm like, fuck, these people buying weed off Hell's Angels. I'm like, this is so cool. This is crazy. This is fucking rad. Now we're drinking. We're getting more drunk. I'm uncomfortable because, like, I don't really know these guys. And even though it's cool, like, I'm uncomfortable, you know, anxiety, what up? So I'm still thinking about Hell's Angels shit. Finally, the guy rolls around, the weed dealer. He comes in. He's a regular ass child. He's maybe low 20s. He's fucking a regular ass child. Okay. I'm uncomfortable a bit because I don't, you know, this is not my natural element. My natural element is like in the woods north of Ottawa, you know, so I'm like, and I'm still so just thinking about this fucking Hell's Angels. And I'm like, oh my God. And this guy comes in. I'm like, oh my God, it's a fucking guy. In my head, I'm like, that's a guy. Work for the Hell's Angels. So we're just chilling out. And, you know, I'm drunk. I'm big, you know, I'm a happy guy, really. When I'm not pissed off at something, I'm like, oh, you know. So I'm like, hey, and I just want to hang out and be everybody's buddy, you know, and just get to know people. And so here's this guy, and I kind of look at him. And I'm just like trying to make conversation, and I'm so excited, and I'm thinking about the Hell's Angels thing, and I just look right at him. I'm fucking drunk, and I blurt out, I'm like, hey, man, like, do you work for the Hell's Angels? And as soon as I say this, obviously, he, like, looks up. He goes like this. I was hammered. I still remember the look, because as soon as I said those words, I was like, well, I fucked up. That was a fuck up. You know what I mean? So I say this. I'm like, do you work for the Hell's Angels? And then he goes... He gives me one of these, like that, like, and I can't even remember what he said. But of course, like, because immediately my friends were like, yo, like, this guy is just a fucking idiot. Like, don't worry. He is not a cop or whatever. He's just a fucking stupid white guy. You know what I mean? So, anyway, so besides the stab wounds, the rest of the night was okay. Nah, it was fine. The guy knew I was just a big idiot. Frankly, I don't even know if he worked for the Hells Angels. I feel like he would not have. I mean, there's a bunch of small-time dealers in Montreal who don't work for that. I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. Maybe everybody does. I have no fucking idea. But anyway, that happened. Beach vendors. Oh, I already did all. Oh no, I already did all these. Oh no. Okay, what's this? Oh. My Google phone has like a little thing where if I swipe to the left, it like shows me news headlines. Okay, news, quote, you know what I mean? Why are you quoting, Tom? Well, because one of them was the headline goes, Disney Plus finally defies Kevin Feige? Kevin Feige? I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. He's the guy, Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige. Let's go with Feige. Kevin Feige is the guy who is like the mastermind behind the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So he's the guy who's like, okay, we're going to do fucking Iron Man 2 here, then Captain America, and then Civil War, and they're going to link up in this way and link like that. You know, and he strings it all together so that all the individual movies make sense as like a continuum. You know what I mean? So that's his doing. Great guy, genius guy. Like, fuck, I don't know what he's like, but I love the Marvel movies. They're fucking dope. They're super fun and great, and all the Easter eggs and connections. It's so cool. It's super neat. You know what I mean? And so he's crushing it there. So everybody kind of knows, and all the nerd fandom is like, don't fuck with Kevin Feige. Don't fuck with Kevin Feige. You know, like, he's the man. He's great, and because he's doing a good job of it, and he's staying. You know, it's hard to stay super 100% to the comic books, but he's doing a pretty good job of like keeping it pretty authentic. And like, you know, the joke is people refer to like the Deadpool that Fox did, where they like, this was with Ryan Reynolds a while ago. It's not an actual Deadpool movie. It was a Wolverine movie, but Ryan Reynolds was in it as Deadpool, but then they like covered over his mouth with skin, and that was like a bad move because the whole thing about Deadpool is that he like talks a lot of shit. Anyway, so it's like that's like an example of what not to do. So Kevin Feige has always done the opposite of that. Like, he's done it very good, you know. You get the fucking point. So when you see the headline, Disney Plus defies Kevin Feige, it's a big headline because you're like, oh, that's like not a good move. What the fuck, you know? So I click on it because I'm interested, and I start reading it. It starts to talk about how Iron Man 3 is sometimes considered a Christmas movie because it came out, because it's the plot of the movie is set in the holidays, like the Christmas season. So there's a huge discussion online about whether Iron Man 3 is a Christmas movie. Of course, it's a fucking meme. It's a joke, okay? Because it's like, who gives a fuck? But it's a haha. It's the same thing is said for like Die Hard. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? But it's like, you know, it's just a goofy thing. Is, oh, you know, Die Hard. But I'm seeing this and I'm like, I'm looking at the thing and they have this stupid ass clickbait title of, is Iron Man Kevin Feige, Disney Plus defies Kevin Feige, and I'm like, and then I read it and it's just some clickbait bullshit about how Disney Plus put Iron Man 3 not in the holiday category. So it said Iron Man 3 was not a Christmas movie, while Kevin Feige has said that it is a Christmas movie. And so it's like, that was the defiance. And I was like, fuck you, you dicks. I can't believe this is what is making news. You know, because I swipe left on my Google to go to the news thing, and I see Kevin Plus defies Feige. Now, look, already, it's like, who gives a fuck? Because it's like, this is just about an internal artistic squabble between a piece of shit corporation and one of its fucking lackeys. You know what I mean? But at least I have some vested interest because I enjoy this creation. So I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And then it's just some clickbait bullshit. And I was like, yo, like, where is the journalistic integrity gone? I can't, anybody who uses clickbait titles, fuck, you should be shot. No, you shouldn't be shot. But like, don't you have any integrity to use clickbait? Clickbait is a trick. You're tricking somebody. It says, you know what clickbait says to me? It says, I don't have anything interesting enough to say on my own, so I'm going to lie about what I'm doing and create some other bullshit. I don't care. People have told me, yo, you got to do your content so that it fucks with the algorithm. And I'm like, man, fuck the algorithm. The algorithm can fucking suck my dick. I'm not going to pander to I'm not going to pander to anybody, man or machine. You know what I mean? If you like my shit, great. If you find it, great. I would rather people like share my stuff and be like, dude, I like what this guy is saying over here. Maybe you should check it out too. That I'll take that, the old school word of mouth marketing. Now, of course, it's in a new context because it's, online and shit, but I'll take that. I'm not going to don't like and subscribe. Fuck that shit. I mean, do it. Definitely do it. But I'm not going to ask that every fucking video. I'm not going to make some fucking thumbnail that looks sexy. Maybe I will, but you know what I mean? There's just too much of a focus on that shit. And nobody has any integrity anymore to just be like, hey, I'm actually not going to lie and mislead in my title saying that Disney defies Kevin Feige. I'm just going to say that this is some stupid-ass article about whether or not Iron Man 3 is a Christmas movie or not. And it's like the reason they don't want to say that is because imagine if you had to put that in your title, is Iron Man 3 a Christmas movie? You'd feel a lot worse about yourself and your place in life than if you put defies, blah, blah, blah. I just like, can you imagine the interview for those places where it's like, oh, I see you're coming to work for like Shithead Incorporated. Just so you know, we like to misdirect and use clickbait. And then, the interviewer is like, do you think you can handle that? And then the person is like, handle it. I'm all about being a cunt and misleading people. Fuck me up, dude. Like, what a shitty place to work. That would basically be how the interview would go down. You know what I mean? In non-political terms. They'd be like, well, here we really try to maximize engagement on our website. And we want to really bring viewers in so we can have a continued relationship. You see how easy it is to bullshit what I just said? Right? We want to have a continued relationship, high engagement, lots of feedback. You know what that means? It just means high click rate. Like, and that's the kind of shit, looping back to corporate. That's the language they use. And it sounds good and impressive, but it's so whack. And like, this is obviously a tale as old as time, but it's just people get tricked because they think we're in the future now. And it's all like, whoa, we're contemporary and we're open-minded and we're advanced. No. The same bullshit that has been used, I'm on this lately. The same bullshit, the same trickery, the same posturing that has been used to convince serfs and peasants that they have less worth than the kings and royalty of the Dark Ages is still going on today. It's just changed form a tiny little bit, but not really. You know what I mean? Yeah, here at Shithead Corporation X, we really want to just really get to know our users so that we can pull them into a relationship, build trust, and, really start to show them kind of maybe newer content that they didn't even know they liked. Hey, fuckhead. I know what the fuck I like, okay? You know why? Because I'm a fucking human, and I know what I like. And I don't want you, with your advertising relationship, to tell me what I like, because you have an ulterior motive. I'll find it out myself. You know what I mean? Anyway, I got a bit sidetracked there, but back to the interview, So the interview is like, yeah, so we like to pull users in, maybe show them some new content, and we don't want to scare them away. We don't want to scare them away with maybe a frightening title too much. We want to make sure that we can pique their interest so that, we can show them new ideas and different things, maybe things they didn't know about, And then the guy on the other side would be like, oh, definitely, the interviewee. He'd be like, oh, I have no problem. Kind of writing words in such a way that would really show a different angle to our readers, And I have if you check my resume, you'll see that I have written many articles that maybe would not be so interesting to a viewer, or a viewer wouldn't know that it'd be interesting to them, but I've written it in such a way that it makes it very interesting to them. What do you talk? It's two bullshitters going back and forth, and what they're saying is like, hey man, can you fucking lie and mislead? And the other guy's like, yeah, don't worry about it, I can definitely do that. And those are places where people work, man. Those are places where people work, and that's their whole job, is to write bullshit. And I'm just like, dude, like, maybe we should think about as a society, like where we have landed, that there are whole jobs and companies dedicated to this bullshit. So I don't mean to sound too high and mighty, you know. I do a bullshit job too. But I just like, dude, it just kind of struck me like, really, man? Kevin Feige defies Disney Plus? Really? And it's about a Christmas movie? Is dog. Okay, I got a little bit too soapboxy today. Let's kind of try to reel it in here. What are we doing here? Discuss instructions. Okay, so so sometimes you'll be working on something with somebody. Doesn't matter what. For me, I usually think of it in the context of my father because he's not good at what I'm about to tell you. You'll be working on something with somebody. Now, you'll both be working on it together. Maybe you're discussing, maybe you're discussing the best solution to the problem that you're facing. Well, I think we should do it like X. Oh, X could be good. I see problem Y with solution X. Yes, I see that also. Sometimes you have a nice discussion, kind of like the one I just did. Oh, what do you think? I think this. Very good. Did you see that problem? I did see that problem. What do you think of this problem? Sometimes it's nice. Sometimes it's not nice. Sometimes what happens is the person who you're working on this with stops having a conversation with you and starts having a conversation with themselves in their head, which you have to fucking guess at. It goes like this. I'm going to do it with my dad because that's how I know. Dad, the lawnmower's not working. Oh, yeah? Did you fill it with gas? Yeah, I filled it with gas. Okay, did you put the choke in? Yeah, I put the choke in. Okay, cool. Oh, could be that, yeah. Could be that. Unless it was doing, oh, yeah, and I remember I took it back. Uh-huh. Yeah. I'll check that. Oh, yeah. And then I have to go like this, Dad, what the fuck are you talking about? You know what I mean? And it drives me nuts because it's like, it's not just that though. It's like, oh yeah, could be that. And then my dad will be like 5 steps ahead of me in his head. You know what I mean? And he'll be like thinking about whatever the fuck. But then he'll come back into me at step 7. And he'll be like, we got to get this thing. And I'm like, Dad, what the fuck are you talking about? Why are you talking about that thing? I just watched you mumble to yourself for 5 minutes while I stood here like a fucking idiot. Do you want my help on this project or not? Now, clearly, there's a bit of a sore spot for me. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, this literally happened to me with my dad. But it's not the only place. It happens all the time. So if you're a person and you're working with somebody, don't do that shit where you retreat into your own head. It's not a cool, genius move. And I feel like a lot of people do it because they're like, ooh, look at how smart I am. I'm going to go do this fucking thing on my own. Honestly, I'm guilty of it. I've done it with people. You know what I mean? Don't do it. Keep people abreast of what you're thinking. And if you need some time to think on your own about what the solution is before you continue with that person, just be like, just say, excuse me for 1 minute. I just got to think about this because I got to think on my own a bit before I discuss with you. That's fine. Then I'll be like, yeah, that's totally fine. Honestly, I'm like that. I got to think on my own. But don't, because it's not really the thinking on the own that bothers me. It's the attitude that goes along with it. Because then people kind of like, when people do this, they're like, oh, I got to do that. And then they kind of smile. They're like, oh, we got to get that thing. And you're like, okay, you're smiling at me like you're a real smart dude and you just figured this out. And maybe you are, maybe you did. But don't think to yourself, come up with your own solution in your head, like not communicate that solution with me, and then look at me like I'm not as smart as you because I am not on the same page as you. You know what I mean? Because that's the look they kind of like, oh, like I'm a clever guy, and you're like, fuck you, you idiot. You just didn't say anything for the last 5 minutes. So no, you're not that clever. You're just bad at communicating. That was kind of an abstract thing. I hope people are with me, but I think I got it. So yeah, don't fucking do that. You know what I mean? Don't think you're a smart guy just because you're not saying what's on your mind. That's really what it is don't think that you're smart just because you're not describing what you're thinking about. Because frankly, it's hard to describe what you're thinking about. It's hard to articulate. You know what I mean? That's a skill. I'm really good at it because I practiced it. But it's a skill to do that. And a lot of people who are really smart can't articulate very well. Case in point, my father. I love you, Dad. I'm sorry. Yeah, don't do that shit. It's obnoxious. If you're working on something with somebody, either take some time, if you need it, to think about your solution, or continue to communicate with that person. Otherwise, why the fuck are they there? You know what I mean? Why the fuck are they there with you? Great. Fucking great. Noted. I think I talked about this already, but noted is probably one of my favorite things. You know, somebody says something stupid to you. You know, talking about working with people, what bothers me also is sometimes, this happens to me a lot at work, is sometimes people will say things that, like, they'll contribute to notions that are, like, outside of their area of expertise. You know, like, in my role, I don't know how much I should shit talk work because I really need to keep my job. But it's just like when people tell you things that are of no consequence. Like they deliver news in a self-important way because they think they deliver news in a self-important way. They'll be like, oh, just so you know, fact Y. And you'll be like you hear that. And as somebody, you know, to you, in whatever problem this is really in like a work context or like a problem solving context. You know what I mean? You're working on a team, right? In a problem solving context, you're working on a team, you're trying to fix whatever issue, and, you know, someone on the team you're responsible for some issue A, and then someone on the team is trying to help that with you, and they give you some news, and they go, hey, for issue A, you know, don't forget fact B. Now, as the person working on issue A, you are competent in issue A, you are experienced in issue A, you know what's going on, and you know when they say fact B, that fact B is almost definitely irrelevant or obviously true. One of those two. Okay. Now, the other thing that happens to me when I work with people and when I address issues that are, one, not my responsibility, two, things that I am not an expert in, I do so with humility because I don't want to offend, or I don't want to offend the person who's working on them. You know what I mean? I don't want to insult that person's intelligence by trying to appear that me, a person who is not an expert in what they're working on, is offering them advice, right? Like if I was getting my car fixed and the mechanic goes, oh, I'm still working on it, then if I had something to offer, I wouldn't be like, oh, hey, it's definitely this. If I had a good theory, then I would present it like, well, look, I know that you're the pro. I know that you know what you're doing. I just want to give you some information. Maybe it will help, maybe not. I don't know. But I have this piece of information. Maybe, but I had a problem with my car a while ago. The other mechanic said it was X. Maybe that's useful to your investigation right now. Maybe it's useful. Not, I definitely know that this is useful for you, because I fucking don't, because I'm not a mechanic. You know what I mean? And that interaction should take place whenever you're working with something on anybody. You know, if you go to somebody and you know that they know more than you about a certain topic, don't come in swinging. Don't be like, I'm pretty sure it's this fucking thing. No, don't fucking do that. And don't have you checked this? Have you definitely checked that? Don't offer what's the word I'm looking for? Don't offer potential solutions if you know that person knows more than you. Because it's like, now not only does that person still have to fix the problem, they now have to entertain your dumbass and carefully deal with your stupid fucking ego. You know? Have you tried X? And then now I have to, when you come at me with that in an area that I'm an expert in, right? And you say, oh, it's have you tried X? Now I have to go gently. Actually, X has nothing to do with what I'm working on. So, no, I haven't done that. I have to try that gently, because what I want to say is, hey, you fucking idiot. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So why don't you let me do my fucking job? But no, I have to be like, actually, what you're referring to is not related to this in any way. So please be quiet. So all that to say is that my new favorite way for dealing with that is when people give me information that is not relevant, not related to what I'm doing, useless, wrong, etc. All I just say is they say some stuff and I go, noted. Thank you very much. Noted. It's great. It's respectful. It's fucking short. It just is like, it's great. Lets them feel that they're helping out. Oh, thanks. Noted. Great. That's it. Works for everything. Works for people you don't want to talk to. You should check this fucking recommendation out. Noted. Thanks. You should check this out. Noted. Thank you. Noted, noted, noted. It's great because it's actually just no. It's in the root, no, tid. But you just add a tid on the end of it and suddenly it's polite. I'm really just saying no to all these people. But just because you throw a TED on the end, now you're super polite. Noted. Thank you very much. Noted, noted, noted. Get the fuck out of my face, you idiots. Noted. Wait a minute. Noted. It's great. It's great. No empathy for the government. Everybody talks about how much the government is fucking up, and everyone always says the same thing. The government is so stupid. Bro, you know how fucking hard it would be to run a country? Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Everyone's like, the government's so stupid. I could do that. No, you couldn't, you stupid idiot. And everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe they did this. You can't believe that? You can't believe that they locked down for 2 weeks, You can't believe that they fucking made people get a vaccine. You can't believe that? Is that crazy? It's not that crazy. It's a logical solution. I don't know if it's the best one. I don't fucking know if it's the best one. I don't know if we should lock down or what. But it's not so dumb. You know what I mean? Like, you think if you were in government, you would never have considered locking down for it's really what I'm talking about, lockdown, because now the government of Quebec has locked down for 2 weeks. I was talking with my homie last night. He goes, the government's so stupid. I can't believe they fucking did that. Why not? It's a logical solution. Again, I don't know if it's the best one. I don't know. Because I haven't considered all of the fucking variables. There's so many thousands, hundreds of thousands of variables in this problem. And then people have the gall to just be like, the government's fucking stupid. It's a hard solution, dude. Cut them a fucking break. Like, look, what's his name? What's his fucking name? Justin Trudeau's an idiot, The government is fucked and stupid and does not a great job. But it's also, like, fucking hard. So whenever people are like, oh, the government is fucking up, and then they talk with such confidence about how they would solve the problem, I'm like, you arrogant piece of shit. Because, like, you have never done that. And that's a hard job and super complicated. So if you want to offer your solution and you have some thoughts about it, fine, let's chat about it. Why don't you check your fucking attitude? Because there's people there who are trying their best and sure, maybe fucking up, but they're trying their best and you're here sitting on your ass, bitching about what they're doing. So let's talk about it, but check your fucking attitude and stop calling the government stupid and telling them that they're fucking up. Because nobody wants to do the job, the government. Nobody wants to be the leader because it sucks. Everybody hates the government all the time, no matter what they do. And people are just like, government's fucking idiot. Shut up, man. It's a hard fucking problem. You know how hard it is to just like deal with my family? Like, and try to be political and good there and make sure you're being nice to everybody, or just being political at work, trying to navigate that fucking social sphere and that whole bullshit. And now those are small groups of people. You know what I mean? My family is 5 people. Now it's grown 7 with the kids. Is 10 people. 10 people. And still there's tensions, discussions, there's history, there's fights. It's hard. And that's 10 group of people. Try doing it for fucking 30 million. All with different backgrounds, different trauma, different all this shit, different class, incomes, challenges, all this shit. And you got to find solutions that work for those, like one solution that works for everybody. No, man, it's so hard. And I'm so sick of fucking idiots trivializing the challenge that the government faces and calling them fucking stupid. And again, I don't care. I'm not a liberal guy. This isn't about political parties. It's about the attitude with which people discuss government issues. And they discuss it like they're the fucking smartest person because they point out one flaw in the government plan. Oh, this is so fucking stupid. Of course it's stupid. You know how hard it is to fucking figure out a good plan during a pandemic? Of course there's going to be stupid parts of it. Of course they're going to fuck up. Obviously. It's so fucking dumb. All these people just swinging for the fences against the government fucking up. Obviously, they're fucking up. They're just like you and me. It would be like if like they're just people. They're people just like all of us. Obviously, they're going to fuck up. And I know it's their responsibility, and I know we voted them in, but I'm so sick of everyone having conversations like they are so much better than the government because they're not. You voted them in, dog, and everybody voted them in, and even if you didn't vote for the people who are in now, like your peers did, and I'm sick of people talking about it like the government's so fucking stupid. Like it's one person, you know what I mean? The government. Like that's just a person who's like, duh, I'm going to do a bunch of stupid things. No, it's not one person. It's a complex, broken system. Obviously, it's going to fuck up. Like, what? Sorry. A little frustrated today. Frustrated. Shawshank. The perfect movie. I think. You know what I mean? God, I watched it last night. It's so beautiful. There's so many fucking poetic scenes, and I can't remember all of them, but like, oh my God, there's just... What was it? Talk about the Pacific Ocean. You know, there's just so many beautiful scenes. Like the beer scene. Oh my God. That scene always makes me crave beer. Holy shit. Craving a beer. I haven't had beer in ages. Beer scene. What else? The fucking opera scene, the music scene where he plays it. Oh, God, gorgeous. Brooks, heartbreaking but beautiful with the bird, the crow. The library, how he builds the library. Of course, Tommy, the young kid who could have testified against the guy, and he gets killed, and then he goes to school. Of course, the escape scene. Oh my God, he crawls through the mud, he gets in the fucking rain. Dog, just fantastic. And it's just all perfectly constructed. No piece of writing is wasted. There's all little tidbits from the opening scene. The opening scene is him with the gun in his car, and he's outside his wife's lover's house. So when they open it up, and you see Andy Dufresne first, and he looks like he's guilty. That's how he looks, because he's like this all the time, and he's like, "Well, Judge, I told you I didn't kill those people." You know what I mean? Like, this guy fucking murdered them for sure, And anyway, you think he's guilty. He goes to the fucking jail, and then he starts talking to Red, and it's just, I don't know. I just think it's the perfect movie. And I was hesitant to watch it last night because, man, I've seen this 100 times. That'd be whack. But watch that. I also rewatched Good Will Hunting recently. I cried. Obviously, it's just beautiful. Just gorgeous movies. I don't know. Like I said, I've been running through kind of the Netflix 90s movies, Excited for Oh, I have a little treat. Oh, good. We're almost at time too. I have a little treat to end the session here. This came for me in the mail. I was deeply upset. I don't know who got this for me. My bet is my brother-in-law. He's a weird guy in that he can't hug me without making a gay joke, but he also has got me a porno mag once for Christmas. I'm betting now twice for Christmas, but I don't really know. It was addressed to me. The envelope was addressed to me, so it didn't just come here accidentally. But yeah, so I don't know who got me this. It's a fucking mystery, but here it is. Anyway, it's Penthouse. Now, if you follow pop culture a little bit, you'll know about the Penthouse letters, which are basically letters sent to Penthouse by women that explain sexual romps that these women have. They're usually of the fantastical nature. They usually involve threesomes with other beautiful women. They're kind of very widely questioned and pretty much known to be fake. However, the fantasy still persists. Maybe they're real. I don't fucking know. All I know is that now I have my very own Penthouse in which I can read one of these famed letters, the Penthouse bullshit letters. I'm so excited. Here we go. Erotic fiction. The Penthouse Forum. Look at that, babe. Mwah. Love it. I gotta tell you, I'm not upset I got this fucking magazine. You know what I mean? Gorgeous. God, women are fucking gorgeous. Fuck. God damn it. Fuck it. Excuse me. God, excuse me. Okay. Showcasing the best and worst of reader fantasies. Here we go. This is a long-ass story, so I don't know. If it gets boring, I'll turn it off. Forum's finest. The best letter from everything. Okay. Roman Holiday is what this one's called. You'd be amazed by how much of a city you can experience in just 48 hours. As a flight attendant who specializes in international travel, I've explored many popular destinations in a short period of time. Generally, I prefer stopovers, but Italy is the one exception to my rule, because Italy is where Marco and his wife Lucia live. Wait. Let me know if that sounds sexy or just gross. I don't know. Marco and I met during my first trip to Italy. He was the front desk clerk who checked me in. There was an undeniable spark between us. Just such bullshit. Feeling feisty, I decided to call down to the front desk and request assistance in my room. Lucky me. Marco responded. He was just finishing his shift, but he had time for one last call. He told me. He never did leave the hotel that night. Okay, I just want to point out, it has not yet been specified that the writer of this letter is a woman. So this could easily be a gay fantasy. I'm just saying. Marco and I hooked up a few more times whenever I was in town. I knew from the beginning he was married, but I didn't care. And he assured me that he and Lucia had a very open relationship. Oh, those Europeans. Now I hope this is fake. Because if there's any fucking idiot writing, oh, those Europeans, like, listen, you cornball. You gotta take some writing classes. So anyway. Then one day, ahead of our next planned rendezvous, Marco asked how I felt about him bringing his wife to join us at my hotel room in Rome. He had shown me pictures of Lucia, and I knew from our conversations that she's bisexual. It's just like, oh, that's all very convenient, isn't it? Like, I don't know. That you met this guy, it's just, anyway, that she was bisexual and has a penchant for sharing. Like, great. Literally couldn't be more ideal. Oh, she's bisexual, beautiful, and has a penchant for sharing? Oh, that's like exactly what I fucking wanted. Wow. If she was even half the lover her husband was, I knew I wanted to fuck Lucia. Fuck that hoe. What's up? Of course, I told him to bring her along. The first time I met her, I was struck dumb by her beauty and her aura of elegance. Okay, let's fucking tone it down. Aura of elegance. Get the fuck out of here. Pictures didn't do her justice. Of course not. She wore a long trench coat that was expertly tailored to conform to every dip and curve of her frame. Honestly, that's sexy. I like that. When she propped her foot on the mattress in my room, the coat opened just a smidge, teasing me with a peek at her gossamer thin thigh-high hose, which were supported by an elaborate lace garter belt. Oh, I'm into it now. I'm so into it. She was stunning. I'm so into it. Marco dropped into the large armchair in the corner of the room that faced the bed. Why don't you two get acquainted? He said. Lucia whipped off the garter belt. Whipped off the belt off her coat and allowed the garment to fall open, revealing a gorgeous bustier that hoisted her plump breasts so high they spilled over the top. They spilled. They were spilling out of the bustier, just spilling out. I wondered what those gorgeous globes would feel like pressed against my cheeks. That's literally the sentence that goes through my head every time I'm about to have sex with a lady. I wonder what those gorgeous globes are going to feel like pressed against my cheeks. As a man, that's what happens in my brain. Would she feel pillow soft? Again, word for word, play by play of me hooking up with a lady. It's crazy. I can't believe this. Would her scent envelop me when I nuzzled the valley between her boobs? It's like they're reading my brain. I was dying to find out. Do you like what you see? She asked. Her thick accent rolled over me. It was like Marco's, of course, but softer and lighter. I found myself torn between wishing she would talk dirty to me and longing for her mouth to be too busy exploring my body to utter another word. I do, I purred. Reclining on the bed, I opened my arms wide in invitation and said, Vieni qui, Lucia. Come here, Lucia. For her undereducated, stupid-ass readers, that means come here. She smiled, and the room seemed to glow. She shrugged off the coat and allowed it to fall to her feet. Lucia crawled onto the bed, moving toward me with the sexiest cat-like prowl. That night, I was her prey. Oh, God. That night, I was her prey, and I would surrender gladly. Ooh, that took me out of it. Unlike Lucia, my outfit was less fussy and more functional. I've never been one for elaborate peignoir sets. I don't know what that means. Instead, I opted to wrap my freshly showered body in the hotel's fluffy robe. Nice. I could still smell the soft scent of my lavender body lotion emanating from my skin. I wondered if Lucia could, too. You're so lovely, Lucia whispered as she slipped a delicate hand into the gap in my robe. That's her vagina. She opened it completely, sweeping the terry cloth aside and exposing my breasts. Tight. My excitement was evident. My breathing was erratic. My tits rose and... My tits! My fucking tits! My tits rose and fell rapidly, which made them jiggle in an enticing manner. Lucia let out some most adorable giggle. She traced the tip of one oval-shaped nail around the edge of my areola. So pretty, she whispered before trapping the nub between her thumb and finger and giving it a sharp tweak. Swing! I gasped. The small spark of pain heightened my growing pleasure to create the most intoxicating blend of sensations. Honestly, that's a good description of it. Lucia hadn't gone anywhere near my pussy, and yet the effects of her ministrations... And yet I felt the effects of her ministrations down there as well. Ministrations, that's a great word. Okay. Ministrations. A subtle pulse picked up between my legs, like a soft whisper that begged Lucia for her attention. Fortunately, Lucia seemed to hear it. After releasing my nipple, she swept her hand down my torso, quickly gliding over my skin until she reached the promised land. Oh yes, I sighed. Lucia's fingers settled atop my clitoris. She gently pressed the little button and ignited an inferno of lust that threatened to consume me. Marco, you didn't tell me she's so responsive, Lucia said teasingly. She turned back to me and whispered, I love a woman who knows what she likes. Lucia's mouth descended on my neck, raining down a series of licks, kisses, and delightful little nibbles, while her fingers continued to stroke my pussy. Before long, I was writhing on the bed. We'd only just begun, but it was clear Lucia was an attentive lover, and I was ready to give myself to her completely. A single finger dipped between my folds. She wiggled it a bit, then skated it right back up to my clit, tantalizing me by smearing my juices along the way. Oh, God, no, you're taking me out of it. You're taking me out of it. You're so wet, she purred, just how I like my women. You're taking me out of it. Lucia's fingers moved lower again. Okay, so there we go. Pretty good. Oh, it still goes. Holy shit. This is more of an essay than a letter. Like, good Lord. Oh, probably the guy comes in, of course. Anyway, I feel like that was a more tasteful trailer of what's to come. Frankly, I don't know what I was expecting with the Penthouse letters, but the writing was disappointing. Oh, there's sexy shit going on here. What's up? Cool. Anyway, so there you go. Things I Hate 56, COVID edition. What's up, dog? Probably going to do another one while I'm in lockdown, so, get ready for it. I love you guys tons. I'm hungry. I hope you have a great fucking day. I love you, Tot. Goodbye. Goodbye.